G'day, my name is Craig and I'm an Aussie in America, and on today's video I'm going to talk about biometrics. Yes, I am an Aussie in America and I'm going through the process of immigration. If that's what you're into, by all means hit the like button and subscribe. Meanwhile, today we're going to talk about the biometrics. What is biometrics? How does it work? What do they do? How long does it take? There's so many things to actually talk about. First and foremost, once you put your adjustment of status in the system, and I'm talking for green cards, I'm talking for work permit, and I'm also talking for travel permits as well. The USCIS, once they're actually processing that paperwork, they'll send you what they call a notice of action, also known as an I-797C. That notice of action will talk about biometrics. They will already give you a date and a time and a location to have that biometrics done. Now, this is very, very important. If you cannot make that date, time and place, you must have exigent circumstances and you must contact them prior to that date that they've given you in order to reschedule. Otherwise, you'll go through the fear of not being able to reschedule at all and your paperwork will not be processed any further than that. So, what is biometrics, you ask? Biometrics, plain and simply, is a photograph and fingerprints. That is it. Photograph and fingerprints. It is not that difficult, it's not that hard, but it does take a long time. The process is exhausting. Before I get into my personal experience with the biometrics, you will need three things to take along with you. You will need the I-797C, the notice of action paperwork. You will also have needed to fill out the second page of that notice, which is your name, your date of birth, your height, your weight, where you were born, that sort of thing. And then the third thing you need will be your passport as proof of identification of who you actually are. On the day of your appointment, make sure you turn up a little bit early, but not too early. They don't like you in line, and yes, there will be a line, a long line, but they don't want you in line any more than 15 minutes prior to that time frame. For example, mine was 11 a.m. and I was there at quarter to 11 or 10:45, however you want to say it. I was there and I looked and I went, oh my goodness, the lineup is already out the door and down the street. Yes, down the street. I was on the corner block in that line. There would have been about 70 people in front of me on that line. And of course, I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, am I in the right line? Is this true? Is this correct? Take it from me personally. Yes, it is true and correct. My biometrics was done in New Jersey, but I do believe by talking to other people that it's similar circumstances throughout the entire USA. So how long does it take? Well, I got in line at 10:45 a.m. in the morning. I then waited and waited and waited for a total point of an hour. 1 hour, almost exactly to the minute where I actually was let into the door. And by the way, they were turning people away who didn't have their paperwork. Just saying, make sure you have your paperwork with you. So an hour goes by, I got into the door itself, I look up, what is there? No, there's not just a straight line into the next stage, not at all. So once you get in, yes, there's another lineup. Yep, another snake line, and that's to reception. At reception, they will check your paperwork for you, they'll check your identification, they'll check your passport, they'll put your mask down and make sure that that is who you say you are. At that time as well, they'll give you another piece of paper, staple it all together, and give you a number. That number is vitally important. They will then send you to another group of chairs and you sit this time and wait. So I got through that process relatively quickly. I'm talking 15-20 minutes and I was sitting and waiting. Then someone comes over, gets your group up and moves you to another set of chairs. I sat in that set of chairs and then line by line on the chairs you get moved forward and forward and forward. Yes, I thought I'm in front of the line. I'm next. No, you're just next to go into the next room and yet another set of chairs to sit in. But this time there's no more moving until they actually read out your specific number. All in all, time-wise, I moved 3 groups of chairs. That 3 groups of chairs took roughly about an hour and 15 minutes, I'm going to say. And then I got into the room and I'm sitting there waiting for my number and you can count down the numbers. Count down 1, 2, 3, 4, you can count it down. And that's all you can do. At which point in time my number was called and I went into one of these booths. Now in the booth itself, it consists of a camera. Very much like this. It also consists of a little electronic fingerprint machine. The person will take your passport off you and your paperwork. They'll scan the paperwork, making sure it's you, because you'll have your identification number on there. They'll again take your mask off. They will do one photo of you sitting there, no smiling, no glasses, no facial features. You must just sit there, and then they'll take one photo of you. One photo, that's all it is. And then they will get you to stand up, and they will do electronic fingerprints. They do a slap fingerprints, like that's all 4 fingerprints. They do one thumbprint, and then they do each finger roll, 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 roll on both hands. After that, they say thank you, see you later. They give you everything back, and you literally walk out that door. Now, it took me less than 5 minutes to get my photo and fingerprint done. Less than 5 minutes. But the whole process itself was just over 3 hours from waiting in line. So I didn't get out of there until after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was there from 11:15 till after 2 o'clock. To give you an idea, it also depends upon how many staff are actually working at the time, but they go through about 40 to 50 people per hour is doing this process. Now, this is the last thing I'm going to say. I'm telling you, this is the most vitally important thing you can take away from this video, and that is the rules and regulations when you walk through that door. And trust me on this, some of the staff are very, very harsh on this. And yes, I did see one person get kicked out of the seats area after waiting over 2 hours before getting their fingerprints taken because of this one rule break. So the rules are pretty simple. Number one, and the most important, no cell phones, no mobile phones at all. Turn it off, switch it off totally. Now, this may be very, very hard for some of you to sit there without any devices in your hands. But trust me, some people brought a book or a magazine to take their time, and that's allowed. You can bring a book and a magazine is okay. But no cell phones, no recording devices whatsoever, audio or visual. They ask as well, no food and no drink except for water. That's inside the actual building itself. Now, as I said before, I was there for 3 hours. So if you want to bring a bottle of water, you can. There's bathrooms there. If you need to get up and you come back to your seat, that's fine. But no cell phones. I can't express it enough. 0 cell phones, because you will, and I did see it, someone got kicked out for you having a cell phone on them. And they were just going through Facebook. They weren't even doing anything. They were going through Facebook. Out the door they go. So there you go. Let me know in the comments as well in regards to your experiences of biometrics, or if you've got any other questions in regards to getting your biometrics taken here in the good old US of A. Click up there for one of my other videos. There's more and more to come, and I'm talking about now I'm going to go out and have some good old USA food and some good quality stuff anyway. Thanks again.